We know that Fikfumeka has written to police asking for them to give him the process of how to protest peacefully. He says he wants to write to police and tell them to let him protest peacefully in a way of asking police to release the people that were abducted and arrested during the recent elections that had just passed. Now, Fikfumeka is not the only one who is complaining about this. Robert Chagulanyi also raised a complaint saying the government needs to bring back our people, dead or alive. In quotes, that's exactly what he said. Now, the other people that raised their concern is the DP Women's League, who said they did not celebrate Women's Day that was on 8th March 2021, because according to them, they don't see the reason why they should celebrate Women's Day when their fellow women are crying over their children not being around to celebrate this day with them because they were abducted or they were arrested, and they have members of parliament who are women in the opposition camp, or even members of the opposition who were arrested during the riots, and they have still not been released. They also comment and say that the list that Jeje Odong released was a list that had names of people who were arrested even before the election time. So they say, why did the government bring out a list? That is not true. And they say they will be verifying this list the whole of this week, and if it doesn't add up, then they will join the procession of people who are demanding for the release of abductees during this session. Now, they also say that the other concern that they have is that Jeje Odong released a list of 174 people, 174 names, yet Robert Chagulanyi says that the number of abducted people is, some people say 423, while others say 458. Matthias Muga went to Parliament and told them the list is bigger than what Jeje Odong is giving. However, according to Jeje Odong, the list released shows that there were 177 people arrested, 43 for participating in riots, 156 found with military stores. We know that the people who are now being tried in the military court in March, India, were charged with having 40 rounds of ammunition, part of them being Nubian Lee and Eddie Mutwe, who are still in prison, and bail has refused to be granted to them. And 17 people, according to Jeje Odong, were planning post-election violence. And the other group, 6, were released on police bond. Now, for you who missed Select News yesterday night and Select Yendaulo, let's look at this footage to komeo to get about what is the future of Ugandans ahead of these numbers that are not corresponding between NUP and the government.
League have explained the reason why the party did not hold or take part in the highly celebrated Women's Day that was commemorated by the president on the 8th of March 2021 in State House Entebbe.
Women Democrats demanded that the state should immediately put out the report to all Ugandans about all Ugandans killed during campaigns and the circumstances of their deaths. The government should make public the names of those who were arrested during campaigns and the crimes they committed. Those in detention and suspected of crimes should immediately be brought to court for justice to prevail. All those unknown places of custody be released immediately and unconditionally, and to stop immediately the abuse.
According to the party, the plight that women are undergoing are deeper rooted than what the government insinuates, and more has to be done to ensure and guarantee women's safety in the country. What's the use in celebrating the day when a number of women are in prisons for crimes they never committed, their children abducted, and most of them unable to own land in this country, they noted.
DP women did not celebrate International Women's Day this year because we were standing in solidarity with our sisters who are bewildered, sad, or mourning. Our sisters are in great pain over the situations they find themselves in following the politically motivated arrests, brutalization, and death of their loved ones. We will, however, celebrate all the women who have made positive contributions to families, communities, and a nation in many different ways.
Last week, the Minister for Internal Affairs, General J.J. Odong, presented a list of 177 names of missing persons before Parliament, and of these, 43 persons were arrested for participating in the riots, 156 found with military stores, 17 arrested for planting post-election violence, while 6 were released on police bond. Sarah Adong, one of the leaders in the Democratic Party Women's League, pointed out Abdul Omar, a resident of Mubende, who was arrested long time ago on land wrangles, even before the pre-election activities, and now they are wondering how his name ended up on the list of missing persons.
The ideal situation right now here is, as women, first of all, we have a lot of challenges. We've talked about the issues of health. We've talked about issues of our different political actors being abducted. And we are trying to follow the subsequent procedures to see that justice prevails. But when the worst comes to the worst, like we said, we shall. And we were the first people, by the way, if you remember 1 month ago, we were the first persons to say, if these people are not brought to book, we shall demonstrate. But
she notes that they are still scrutinizing the list as they work with other women leagues from opposition parties to verify the names, vowing not to sit back as their colleagues are lavishing in prisons. Matthias Mpuga, the Masaka Municipality Legislator, presented an alternative list of 423 supporters from the National Unity Platform camp that were kidnapped, a number that does not correspond with that from police. Husna Afet for Select News.
The story that came from DP Women's League. We remember they are the first to say we are going to protest. Now Fik Fameka has joined them, and we are going to see a number of other artists who will come up to ask that these people are released from prison. The NUP camp ran to the courts of law saying that the military court is not being fair with their people and it is their right to get bail. However, the story has not proceeded, and all that was taking up the news was Robert Chagulanyi's withdrawal of the poll petition. Now, how did you celebrate your Women's Day? Are you also on strike like the DP Women's League, or you decided, you know what, for their sake, let me celebrate it and show Ugandans or the Ugandan government that it is time for us to move forward from this political season? Well, we ask that these people will be released and given granted bail, just like they have asked for. The court in Machindi say that the reason why they have not been released is because they still are very dangerous and they look like they will cause chaos as soon as they are out of prison. Now, on that particular note, stay on STV. Tukomeo tuogere kumbozi ya NUP organizing for a protest, a peaceful protest, according to Robert Chagulanyi, as he takes his affidavit or the files that he withdrew from court to People's Court.